Hey, I'm Reefer, and tonight, because I didn't really want to wait till the weekend to talk about it, because tonight I just finished reading Save the Day, because I took the night off work because I had a cold, and I was about 60 or so pages from finishing it anyway, and I picked it up about 2 weeks ago because I'm like, oh, I need to read a book. And I'm like, alright, I'll read Save the Day. I mean, I rag on it all the time, because I think probably back in 2012. Yeah, 2012, something like that, 2013. Back at the old place we used to live in. I remember trying to read it there. So, and I know when I tried to read it, that was like probably at least a year after I'd actually received the copy. And so I've had it for a very long time. And I remember there's an old Notcast episode. It's the Fairy Book Hour from the 2012 Fairy Fiesta, I think, where they do a reading of they do a reading of the first chapter of Save the Day, Smiley and the Hero, which is why I remember Alex Vance or Khaki Doggy reading it, because it's from that. And then a third book, I think it just might be something. And yeah, and so I remember someone reading the first chapter, so I'm pretty familiar with the first chapter. I've read it myself twice now, and then I've listened to someone read it. And I remember, at least when I first tried reading it years and years ago, I got up to basically when Ted and Jay, it must be just when Ted goes to the Extraordinaries base, and cause the problem is it's a very wordy book. There's a lot of times where, like, if I'm not focusing on it, I can be like, oh, that sentence was a bit unnecessary. It's like, oh, um, Ted says a line of the character says a line of dialogue, and then there's a sentence after saying, like, oh, that line of dialogue, yeah, he was very annoyed about that, but you could tell that in the dialogue anyway. So there's a lot of, like, weird unnecessary stuff like that, which I guess would ruin my enjoyment back when I first started reading it. And at least this time I know it was about at least 60-80 pages in, and I'm like, oh, this is such a slog. Like, I was reading it at work, and like, they were like, what are you reading? I'm like, oh, this book is just dragging on. And then once it got over that initial hump, I really started to enjoy it. Like, I really started to enjoy, superhero theme and furry theme with the added idea of relationships. Because I don't know, like, I don't think I'm too big on superheroes. I mean, I watch some movies, I play some games. I don't really read much comics, but I'm more a book person, because I like the extra detail that you get in a written story about superheroes than you do in a comic. And yeah, so I read it through, and halfway through I'm like, oh my god, hot damn, I'm really enjoying this. So then I read about another call of the book, which is where I stopped a day or two ago after, like, reading it all day. And, like, I had to go to work or something, and oh no, that's right. I was having a really shitty, like, depressing week, like, just, like, working in general. And then, like, I was chatting to this girl at work, and then, like, I went home and continued reading Save the Day. And there's a character, Raja Rashada. He's this tiger telepath. He's a bad supervillain, and he's like the dark. He's like a darkness character or something, and he can use his telepathic abilities to take out all the good memories and emotions out of people, so they'll only have, like, the bad ones and stuff. And it's like, it's the most, like, depressing thing to read. It's like, oh, I'm really down. Like, I'm reading about, like, the supervillain that is literally depression. And I was chatting to her about it, and she's like, oh, he sounds like an asshole. And then thankfully you don't see from him again. And and it gets a bit more into characters again. Well, I guess Save the Day is a book about superheroes. Um, Ted is Star 80, and he's very in the closet, and he's recently moved in and bought a house with his boyfriend Jay, who is a Border Collie, and they live together. And Ted's very closeted because his dad beat him up when he came out, and Jay's all like, "You need to be more honest," like, because I mean the book opens with um. It's really funny when you think about it. Like, Jay's like really pissed at Ted because he's all these lame excuses why he's never hanging out with their friends, he's never around, and Ted's like, he's like, I'm tired of these excuses. And like Ted's like trying to like, make up, and it's like, oh, and then and he's basically like, oh, well, I'm Star Coyote. He's like, what? And then like, it comes out about that. And he's like, what? It's like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, I was trying to protect you. He's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have to make all these like stupid lies. I thought you were some kind of sex pervert. And that was pretty funny. And then the book kind of follows Ted's life as a superhero, and basically how their life goes once Ted comes out to Jay about being a superhero, and then he is kind of forced to come out as being gay. And actually, on that note, I'll stop there because I can't remember. Well, I remember ages ago I was reading a review of Save the Day. I think it was the old Weasel Wordsmith blog that Lovejoy Weasel Lovejoy Weasel ran, and he did a review up on Save the Day there, and I think that gave me a very heavy bias because I think I read that before I started reading the book, and I don't want to get the book because back then there really wasn't much published novels other than a few for Planet and a few from Sofa Wolf. Not like there is these days, so many. And he was talking about how it's like very wordy, and it could have done with like another editing pass, and yada yada yada. And I think that really stuck with me, and it really stopped me from like at least enjoying like the first 60 pages or so of the book. Because once you get past that, you kind of, not that you like skip over it, you kind of like gloss over that writing style that the author has, where there's this extra detailedness, and then there's a few parts where it's like, why didn't you go into detail there? Why are you telling me this thing I want to know now? And that's pretty funny. And then and yeah, so back to my point, it follows Ted being a superhero and Ted and Jay's life, kinda. So it's kind of like a relationship book, like the Devon Lee books. And one thing I wish that it did like the Devon Lee books is that the start of the new chapters, if it changed perspective, I wish it would, kind of tell me. Because like there's like one chapter where I was like a page or two in, and I'm like, is this Jay or Ted? But and it has a really nice ending. There's a very macabre part in the middle where it's like Camo saves the day in New York and puts Power Puma. This I think they use the word Nazi too. Oh, they also use the word solar plexus. So there's like, I think there's like 3 times where it's like, oh, and I punched him in the solar plexus. I'm like, it's like, are you using that because you know what it is, or did you just look it up in the dictionary to stop so you didn't punch you in the gut? Or I think that's where it was. I looked it up and then I probably forgot. And yeah, and they look up Power Puma and they use it's like oh, Camo's like, oh, good job, Officer Willoughby, for sitting in the sedative dark. And he's like, oh, thanks, Camo. And then like you find out later, it's like, oh, Power Puma broke out and like killed several police officers and Officer Willoughby because he was dating an otter. And I'm just like, oh, that's too real. That's too real, DJ Fahl. And and yeah, I think that says a lot. Like there's a few things where you really feel for characters, and I think comparing it to in the Doghouse of Justice or the League of Canid stories that Kyle Gold did, I probably care about the characters and the people they're in relationships with and their alter egos a lot more. I like reading that. I really like Stratagem, the Badger dude a lot, and Glacier. I really love the whole chapter where Paul comes to visit them in Portland, and Gary, and that's always really fun. And then, oh, what was it? I just remembered it and I just forgot. Um, there's actually a lot of good scenes towards the end of the book, and like the first half is a really decent setup. I don't think there's like really any questions. I mean, I'd like to read more about the universe. And what's it? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's the whole scene where Ted's moping around the house, and Jay's like losing his shit because it's been like 3 days, and he just has to like answer all these phone calls. It's like, oh, it just like from like all the other superheroes, and then their spouses like, oh, does Ted want to talk now? And I'll see if I can find one of the lines I can really like. I can't remember it. Like there's a fuck this was I like how I looked for it and I couldn't find it, but there's this line where Jay's getting like really pissy, and then he notices Ted is eating like this flavor of ice cream that he knows Ted hates, but like it's like Jay's ice cream. He's like, why the fuck are you like? Why are you eating my ice cream? He's like, oh, there's nothing else. And he's just like, he's so frustrated that he's like eating his ice cream because it's just cause. And yeah, just I really like Jay as a character, probably a lot more so than Ted. Um, that's why like I don't think there's any characters I really didn't like. Like you find out they're a lot more in depth. Like you just want to learn more and more about them, which is like great. Um, like, Cinnamon and Spice are pretty good. Oh, there was a bit of a trashy line towards the end where it's like, oh, because they got the gay, Ted's gay, and they had Thriller Killer, she was a dyke, but she was lesbian, and they had Spice was transgender, and I was actually, I'm glad I didn't pick up on that sooner when they had like a little thing about it, and then it's like they're like saying like talking of Power Puma, and Power Puma, and like oh they're like oh all we need is the B to be the GLBT like whatever, and then like there's a few more things happen in the scene, and then um Metal Yena comes in and says, oh, he's like, I think he beats the shit out of something. It's like, oh, something about him being the bee, and he comes out as well. And like, and I'm like, like, oh, yeah. And, if any of you have read ASB and know the character Tiny, every time I was reading about Metal Yena, I just thought of Tiny. And, yeah, the illustration in the back, the illustration in the back of the hyena. I just thought of like Tiny, and then like I couldn't get that foot out of my head. Like not that there was like much similarities. I mean, you know, he's a big buff hyena, and actually, oh god, I probably say either Glacier or Stratagem are my favorite characters, or Ted. Ted's really freaking cool as well, and which I don't really say much of, but I'm more of a side character person, which is interesting. And I'm like, oh man, I love the main character. And yeah, no, I totally freaking read it. Like, again, like so many things, I kick myself because I didn't read it sooner, but then, hey, I still read it. It's like, you know, the worst thing you could do to a book is never read it. And I actually found a few things recently. Um, Early last year, Pepper Coyote did a song to do with Save the Day called Star, which was actually really good. And I need to buy more of his albums. I freaking love Pepper Coyote. And then, and yeah, I think that's really just it. Like, I don't really want to go into more detail. Like, all the powers are pretty cool. I like the stage and the level. I think they were still interesting, more interesting than X-Men. Like there was some slight play on like the furriness, like the animal people. It wasn't over the top, which was actually really good because other than like a few things, there was an Australian character. I think it was just a regular doctor. He's like something Connolly, and I don't know like how like even though like I only know like one person that was like her last name was Connolly, and that was like my art teacher at high school. But that does sound like a very Australian name. Um, I think there was an Australian a hero. It's like something to do with Riptide or Boomer or something. And vaguely it wasn't too like over the top. It wasn't like Corky the Dingo. He's got his Billy cans and oh man, I freaking love oh what's the dingo from Doghouse of Justice? History Channel. That's it. Um. Oh yeah, I fucking love the side character of Michelle. Um, she's the widow of one of the dead heroes called the Stranger. That's actually a really good thing that I really like that they brought up. Like they brought up the fact that like some heroes have died saving the world, and then others have been injured, and then what was it? Yeah, because there's Marvelous Malamute, Canadian Malamute. She died. I think she was killed by someone, and then there was another one. I can't remember her name. I think it might be Omni. Or maybe it was Marvelous Malamute. But there was this other hero that used to be in the Extraordinaries, and I think she crippled a supervillain, or no, I think she just crippled the supervillain. Yeah, she put Doctor Xanadu in a wheelchair, and she retired from the Extraordinaries shortly after. But it was implied that they asked her to resign because that wasn't the message. Like that's not what they do. Like, and there's this really cool scene where Stratagem like just loses his trust and faith in everything and starts going fucking crazy. And it's just like, I do not want to go up with a badger like that, man. And yeah, and like he was close to killing someone. I was like, oh, and the point I was making is I really like that they brought that up because even though he didn't ground it too much, he didn't have set rules like this is why we don't kill people. It's just like it's more like it's not the done thing. Like there's obviously explanations there, and it's not really gone into detail, which is pretty cool. Um, and then yeah, there's the whole thing with Ted saying how he actually respects like super criminals like Cinnamon and Spice, where like they don't hurt civilians and other stuff like that. And then there's a few heroes that aren't part of the Extraordinaries, and there's like little things like that. And there's super criminals that aren't bad, like Rigger, and then there's the regular super villains that want kill people, take over the world, just use their powers for psychotic reasons. And and yeah, and one of my favorite scenes towards the end of the book is I think yeah, because Jay like knows all their like kind of alter egos, like he's seen their partners and loved ones and worked it out, and Ted hasn't. And there's this spoilers. There's a big party scene in Ted and Jay's house, and there's a cringe-worthy scene where Ted asks Jay to marry him. I think it's just cringeworthy to me because I always see those proposal scenes as incredibly cringeworthy. And there's all the superheroes there, and they're all in their alter egos, and then Stratagem Samuel the Badger turns up, and the only two people that know his alter ego are like Bill and Jay, and then the other alphas, and the whole clearance thing's really interesting. I want to see that explained, and then and oh, yeah, that's really about it. The party was seeing cool, all the other ones, and then early on in the book when Jay gets his alpha clearance, just the highest clearance, cool. There's like the alert system that they go through, and I'm like, I'm a huge like freaking geeky person for like alert systems and just alarms in general. I don't know why I like hearing them. Um, and he's going through the stage of the alerts where it's like if it's red, then a hero or an alpha is in danger, and they need the extraordinaries to respond to them or their location. And like they need the full force of extraordinaries. If it's flashing red, it means that someone's identity or secret identity has been revealed, and like all protocol goes out the window. And he's like, "Oh, the thing is, it happened once," and he didn't really elaborate on that, which was pretty cool. And then there's like the fifth one, which is made me like squeam my pants when I was reading the whole freaking thing. Where it's like Indigo Alert, which is like basically there's this, it's like he's like, oh, we've never like had to use it, and it's basically like the threat is like so great that like we need to like ask everyone in the whole world and universe to help. It's just like calls go out to like all the governments, like all the superheroes and like even like super criminals and stuff, anyone with superpowers that would like want to help to save the planet for like whatever reason, which was pretty cool. And and uh and yeah, he's like, oh, like I think that's the one where he says all protocol goes out the window at that point. The base was pretty cool. Yeah, like I do want to see more of the world. Whether the author DJ Fahl, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, writes any more, I don't know. And I think I'll stop it there. Yeah, definitely go read it. Don't do what I did and take 3 or 4 years to read a book and then diss it along the way, because it's not terrible. And um, I think I heard somewhere that there might be an audiobook. Was no, I'm thinking of something else. And yeah, no, definitely go pick it up. You like superheroes? You like furry? Pick it up. Um, yeah, it is a long read. It is very wordy. The type is pretty small. Um, I'll still stick by that. And I don't think there's like really anything just terrible I didn't really like, other than like the first 60 pages being a bit of a slog. Um, but like after you get over that, it gets a lot more interesting, which is pretty cool. The epilogue was pretty lame. I mean, the epilogue didn't really say anything else, other than like Power Puma is still in jail. Um, freaking Gary, man, he's also another. He's like just basically Ted and Jay's gay friend. He's pretty cool too. He throws a table at Power Puma, like the balls. The balls on this guy. I'd just be like, nope, I'm fucking getting out of here. And yeah, nah, definitely go pick it up. The illustrations were by Vince Suzukawa, which I don't know his furry name. If I find it, I'll put it in the description. I'll put in where you can buy it in the description. I'll put the Pepper Coyote song in the description, and anything else I can think of that's relevant. But yeah, I definitely fucking loved it, and I hope to read it again in like a year or so. So, see ya. Oh. So anyway, I've been Rafer, and I'll catch you later.